Welcome back to Rinoa Reviews! And for Christmas Eve and Day, it's all about the Darkstalkers, back in a time where Capcom did more than just one fighting game franchise. Hell, I think SNK made so many they were in competition with themselves practically. The game style was the chicken before Street Fighter Alpha's egg, and might be the fighting game franchise that's third in how many titles there are, and VC is second. Their versus with Marvel. Most Capcom titles get maybe like 2 different games if they're lucky, like Rival Schools and Power Stone. Plotline-wise, I think this might as well be 2. Still, for its design and play, it certainly earned its following, myself included. My first book from Udon Entertainment was, I believe, Darkstalkers related. I've seen these VHS tapes for this cartoon way back when, but I never bit. I'd have been burned by Tekken the motion picture, and I wasn't sure if I should take another chance like that. I already watched the television cartoon as well, so that added to my hesitation. So I'm seeing these for the first time with more hype and knowledge about the franchise. 4 40-minute episodes. I'm doing 1 and 2 today, 3 and 4 tomorrow. So let's dive right into Night Warriors, Darkstalker's Revenge OVA, or Vampire Hunter OVA, as it's known in Japan. Villagers racing to stake a coffin as you do with resting vampires gets blown away by the Ryu of this game. I can't help but think this was... When did Bram Stoker's Dracula the movie came out? This might have been like... at least lifted from that movie. And that just seems very similar. Just people rushing in. Big giant cross to nail into the coffin that they hammer in. The cross is like this gaudy gold thing. But Dimitri's just blows right through it. Sends them flying away, and we get our intro of Morrigan fighting John Talbin, Anakars wrapping up Lord Raptor, Bishamon slashing at Riku, Albeth? How do you pronounce either of those names? The Fishman. Donovan vowing to hunt the dark. Title drop. Also a bit of a spoiler for later. Episode 1, Return of the Darkstalkers. Dimitri's butler looking over some papers, going over... There's a lot of this movie watching the first time. I was like really unsure what they're doing or what they're even talking about. But yeah, humans in general, or the ones he hypnotized as working for him, ? Maybe they don't know Dimitri's a vampire. Butler says, some begrudge your avoidance of the sun, while others resent your descent to Earth. Is he still talking about the humans, or just fellow nobles of the demon world? Dimitri readies to avenge a defeat in the demon realm he'd suffered a century ago. Yeah, his descent to Earth was not by design. He was kicked out. Only real plot I could glean from the video games is the world of demons, Makai, is fusing with Earth, hence Darkstalkers. Just an umbrella term for anything that's non-human. They'll see Darkstalkers and Dark Ones in the dark a lot. Take a shot every time the word dark comes up. Oh, God. Oh, no. I want you to survive. Don't do that. Don't do that, please. Oh, God. Or at least limit it by, like, limit your consumption maybe by an episode. That's it for today. Come back, like, tomorrow when you're okay again, when you're, like, sober. Jeez. Yeah, these episodes don't really help, the plot that much either. Things have clearly happened and we're just here now. Is this kind of... Again, I was hoping to get more backstory, but not necessarily of the characters, but why this is all happening. Dimitri gives thanks to his servants, who he turns demon and blows them up. I guess he can't show them feeling on them or whatever. I thought that was a little more mature than that, but... Some older demons elsewhere are talking about Dimitri's plot for Earth while they speak of a young mistress. Some demons steal a key and run afoul of Morrigan, no accent. But you can at least draw green demon blood, wondering, how come you serve Dimitri so? No desire to take over yourselves? While Felicia elsewhere on a train handing out flyers to drum up business for her musical career. Apparently there is something akin to the plot of the games because... While a small army of humans are setting up a war to protect them, there's this meeting about how their crops are all, like, shriveled up. The sun's gone, hidden away. Load up on crosses and such. They plan to time their attack to Dimitri's return to the demon world, thinking He's not going to be in a fighting position when he does that. And even in this animated series, meanwhile, Lord Raptor is voiced by... He's about to perform as Felicia is feeling woozy as her senses are going crazy due to the abundance of Darkstalkers or whatever's going on. Raptor's audience consists of the cult that arrived of humans with readied flamethrowers. They started with like the garlic and the crosses, and Lord Raptor's like, "Oh, that was your work on me and my zombie, you blew me gits," or whatever. "Oh, I'm Australian." Or at least British, I'm not sure. He's got the Union Jack on his leg, so... Felicia fights them off because she knows they'll just kill her too for being different. Raptor, even bathed in the flames, just shrugs that off, grandstands, and before the humans have a chance to get away, he does his little death voltage super and sucks their souls away. Felicia pretty nonplussed by all of this, just kinda sitting back and watch Raptor painting the concert red. And that'll do for him for this whole series. No comeuppance for any of that. Dimitri via blimp has his castle fire off cannons to hit the sky. This opens up the way to Demon Realm. Morrigan sits outside the gates waiting for him. She gets bit, but is still fighting. From below, shit's about to go from bad to worse. The fight is interrupted with the seafloor emerging, a small army of Huitzels. Yeah, the robot sub-boss from the first and second games. The older demons from before are all Beelzebub's bollocks. Would have never thought to have heard that ever. Does Lord of the Flies even have bollocks? I'd have to make this review at least 5 to 10 minutes longer if I kept talking about how everybody gets their shit in. Soulfist, Shadowblade, and her Darkness Illusion super on the army of Huitzels, and that's just her. A lot of stuff going on with the fights, but they take a while to get there with all the talking and pontificating and such. To where I'm like, trying to write this down to review it, I'm like, huh? Morrigan, hesitantly summoned back to a castle overlooking Demon World as Dimitri crushes the Huitzels down on Earth. Donovan Bane happens upon a village of many victims, one village elder giving last rites as a traveling troupe wants to unload on them this girl Anita, who they say was the sole survivor of her village. Ever since the troupe took the girl in, Darkstalkers have been appearing with them. There's something to this girl, they're after her, they assume. Some altar boys rifling through the traveling troops wagon gets a rifle. The biggest, brattiest of them spot that Anita spotted them take the gun. Older kid grabs her doll and is about to demonstrate what'll happen if she tells. So Anita runs to grab the doll. Doing so knocks the boy with the gun out of the way. Gun accidentally fires. Anita puts up a barrier to destroy the bullet before it can hit her. She's psychic. Or something akin to that. So main brats, they run off. And they spin a little tale that, oh, she's a witch. I saw her cast like evil spells and blah, blah, blah. Just stirring up the townsfolk. Getting them ready to go a-murdering. Donovan laments, why must human turn on another simply because they're different? And saves Anita from gunfire from the angry mob. The elder tries to kill her but can't follow through, but feels she does not understand. Donovan shows saying, her understanding isn't the issue, her emotion is. Test that by cutting her doll's head off. What? Elder notices, oh, she's angry at this. Donovan says, if you can show hatred, you can stand up and fight. As the girl peers into him, I think, and she senses, you got the dark too. He tells her, yup, I'm half Darkstalker, and I'll do my part to eliminate the dark. Yeah, Nina actually says things from time to time in this movie, but she's all doubtful. He can overpower his darker side, saying that humans are weak. Even showcasing she can move his sword with her mind. I wouldn't mess with her too much there, Donnie. She's gonna go Marvel superheroes and infinite your ass. The villagers who started the mob attack get theirs from a Huitzel who is Anita targeted to close out episode 1, and oh shit, it's the song! Gonna be trouble. It's getting out of hand. So the credits for this animated series has the song too. Like, this is just the theme song then. I'm convinced. If there's ever a Darkstalkers 4, if ever there's such a thing exists, this song needs to be in it in some capacity. Original. Don't dare remix it or anything like that. But that's episode 1. On to episode 2 that opens with a giant spider eating up those who are dressed in Asian garb. Okay, I guess that's our cue for Priesty Girl and her sis Xienko. The fights from the beginning of episode 1 is now has Dimitri pontificating. It also adds a fight of Victor versus Felicia, who also doesn't meet LL in this movie. Not movie, OVA, sorry. Ugh. I get confused because for episodes that are like 40 minutes, I'm like, okay. I think it's 41, 42, 43, and then back to like a 42, 41 or something like that for the fourth and final episode. But here we are for episode 2, Blood of Darkness, Power of Darkness. I like they bring the sister in on this for more than just cameos or like a victory screen for Cienko. Because she's already hopping vampire while the two sisters need to converse with demons, so her sister Mei Ling, who looks human, that does the talking. She arrives at this other village. Turns out she's been beaten to the punch on a possible Darkstalker hunt job by one fitting the description of Donovan. The villagers, in their celebratory lack of Darkstalkerness, let booze go to their heads and try to get handsy with Mei Ling, so they get their shit pummeled. But not slain. One gong move from Cienko and they're all down. She's bringing home the fact that, man, some humans are worse than the Darkstalkers. We'll never beat the Dark at this rate. Elsewhere, someone is seeking armor that befits Bishamon's cursed armor. His men are getting beat down by Donovan, drawing a crowd, but they're quick to turn and hide once Donovan shows off his sword to effortlessly cut down a tower where snipers are taking potshots at him. Just cleaves it. But someone seeking armor is a leader of this village who believed he was one of the Dark Ones. So I guess he's just cruelly testing out anyone who's an outsider? He eyes Donovan like, oh, I can recruit him and get his sword too, maybe. So he hires Donovan to go after this demon samurai who stays out of the city on the outskirts of the Northern Valley, just waiting for challengers. Humans turning on humans again. A coach driver and his guards try to get some more compensation than normal from some old ministers they're carrying about, but they're not too cooperative, so they just start stabbing the coach. Coach driver's all, it wants blood. And sure enough, the armor floats and shows itself. Talking very scarily, but with an effect that it's sort of hard to understand. But yeah, it asks, if you are worthy to best me, take the armor, by force you shall have it. And no name the shit humans they get cleaved into. And is about to continue cleaving the ones inside the coach till Donovan shows and saves them. They're all, save us and we'll reward you handsomely. Bishamon brands them fools for thinking he came to save them. But he does. This confuses and angers Bishamon, who's like, can't comprehend why one of the Dark would save humans. Throwing a sword into Donovan, ooh, stab, twice. Gets so mad and angered that there's like, why are you still doing, and he just pops off and the armor just lifeless on the floor. Apparently this was enough to free the ghost of the human that took up the armor. Yeah, this is plot of the game. Sharing in Donovan's suffering of the Dark taking hold. Ghost tells him, don't give up, and upon seeing Anita says, your journey isn't your own anymore, Donovan. More or less. Yeah, a lot of talking. But the man who hired Donovan arrives and places the armor upon him and gets vaped as a result. Unworthy. At least that I assume the armor thought him was. But the ghost of Bishamon theorizes that perhaps he too can fight the Dark and will take this armor upon himself to one day overcome its evil. The armor still laying there like, why? It makes no sense. Does not compute. Shot from space now as someone else is pontificating. Yep, Pyron's awake. Final boss of the first and second games, intent on ruling both humans and the Dark as Huitzel's look over recordings of the fight between Dimitri and Morgan. Cool shot of that wind pose where he laughs and turns into the pillar of flame. When he's laughing, it's instead of a pillar, he then extends it further and envelops like an entire planet and just consumes it. Final boss got a flex, I guess. More on that later, for sure. Anita with Donovan thinking about, maybe I won't save him, is met with Mei Ling and Cienko as they try to talk her into helping him after all, citing, he's still not done with all he wants to do. Wouldn't you as his friend help him? Anita's like, he's not my friend. But she does relent and she's like, alright, I'll go get water. Mei Ling understands she's only trying to protect herself so she's not being on trust right away. Yeah. She knows girls see some shit, but also at the same time just kind of like, Cienko the more forceful, like, hey, what the hell are you doing? And Mei Ling's the more like quieter, older, understanding sister. Just like, hey, might not be your friend, but hey, you should do this all the same. You gotta help out and all that. She's the voice of reason, action versus reason, kind of. So he wakes all bandaged up just in time as an army of Weasels laser the place that they were staying in. But yeah, time to kick some more robot rump. Donovan's still loathing his dark half, so he throws himself into battles that might end his life rather than suicide as his raison d'etre. Robots put together that if Dimitri, Morgan, and Donovan were to somehow team up, even Pyron would be no match. Pyron decides to create artificial suns on the Earth to possibly weaken the Dark, beckoning those to do battle with him. Artificial or no, this infuriates and blinds Dimitri in his castle to close out episode 2. So 2 down, 2 to go for tomorrow. Before I do that, though, my usual segments. Every character in here plays as they would in the game, so it's hard to pick a best out of that. I do really like the Bishamon thing where he gets the so does not compute level of anger at Donovan Sin, saving humans because he's also of the Dark. He's got the floaty spirits around him too, so I'm fingers crossed that Bishamon returns for the next 2 episodes as Oboro Bishamon. That secret character that's what if the man who took up the cursed armor is now in control? He's purged of his evil and now is just, okay, cool samurai guy. And he's just the same armor and everything. Because he's just that level of badass. Like a reverse Akuma, you know what I mean? Nobody's super out there, but just the Bishamon thing struck me as like, wow, that's cool. I would like to see more of that, please. Worst character is obviously that kid that took the gun and then tried to threaten Anita, and then he stirs up the mob of humans to attack when he gets owned. I was waiting for Anita to send that bullet back, in all honesty. Which brings me to my power on moment of these episodes. Not afraid to paint the picture of the trope that humanity is the real monster. It's like they looked ahead on Darkstalker 3 with Buletta. And we're just like, yeah, okay. No clean hands here for the most part. Both episodes doing their part to highlight examples of this, and my god, all the moves they took from the game into this movie. This is like equal parts love letter to and apology of the weekday cartoon version of Darkstalkers at the same time. That said, I wish these episodes spent a little more time telling how or why the world of human and demon are merging, or at least means to access the demon world and how the one mob of humans even know about it. Again, you just kind of dumped us in the middle of things without really like explaining what's going on, and when you do explain, it's all like it's trying to be deep and talk about like, oh, the duck and all this and that. I guess it's not the most important thing because no piece of material I know has yet to explain how this came about. I don't even remember the later Udon comics not really shedding light on it. It's just, oh, I guess, like they don't even say like different universe, different, yeah, it's just kind of. But anyway, 2 down, 2 to go. Darkstalker's Revenge. But yeah, it's my power off moment. A lot of stuff going on, but I was really fingers crossed hoping like finally we'd get some kind of backstory of the. I'm sure if you dig super deep, like almost to the center of the Earth, you might find something about Darkstalker's lore, how and why the worlds are merging. Like I said, I didn't even find about it till like Wikipedia. Other than that, I was just like, huh, because there's rarely any humans involved in Darkstalkers the games, at least till 3, or at least not endings from here and there. So I always thought all those fights took place in the world of demons before they made their way to Earth. Again, just a lot in the air. But anyway, join me tomorrow for episode 3 and 4 of Night Warriors Darkstalker's Revenge. So until next time, take care and Merry Christmas.